Before we dive right into designing and sculpting out our first character, let's quickly talk about adjusting our color and materials. Color and materials can play a huge part in the way your sculpt is represented as you're building up the shapes and forms. By adjusting these, you can find a combination that works best for you and fits your own artistic personality. We can change the color of the mesh by adjusting the color palette here. To change the primary hue, click with your mouse or pen on the outer rim and we can drag around the palette. Once you've found the color you're looking for, click on the inside picker to adjust the saturation even further. As we adjust the color in the picker, the color on the mesh will update automatically, and it will also update on our main color icon. The main color is the source that would be applied to the mesh on the canvas. If we click on the main color icon here, this will open up a larger view of the color palette, which allows for more precise controls. Now, we also have the secondary color option. Click on the secondary color icon to open up the larger color palette where we can now adjust. So now that we've adjusted the main and secondary options, let's click the Switch Colors button below, which will alternate those, and as you can see, will update on the mesh. Now, if we hover over the Switch Colors button, you can see the pop-up will give us the keyboard shortcut, which in this case is the V key. Press the V key on the keyboard to quickly switch between them. Materials are very important to the sculpting process, mainly because they will have different properties of lighting, shadows, and control how the mesh is represented along with the color. We can change the material by clicking on it to open up the material palette. Here we can see different materials with different properties to change the look of our object. We can click on different materials to apply to the mesh. You can see some will dramatically change how the mesh is represented, as some of these materials already have color properties, and also give interesting stylized effects to our scene. One thing I want you to keep in mind as you go through and select the color and materials for your project is to select options that will best represent the sculpt while we're focusing on the sculpting phase. As we move on to the next part of this series, I'll be using what is called the basic material, located here in the material palette, which is a great material for sculpting because it has nice soft shadows that give clear visibility of the surface, and I'm also going to make sure that my main color is set to a lighter tone as opposed to a darker tone. This will allow me to clearly focus on my sculpt and later move on to applying final paint as well as materials once we've completed the character. In the next part of this series, I'll be focusing on sculpting our first full character while using just a few new features in the sculpting process, as well as bringing in image reference to better help us on our sculpting adventure. Thanks for visiting Z Classroom, and I'll see you in the next video.